Welcome to the deep dive, where we tear through the source material so you don't have to. Today, we are immersing ourselves in the hidden language of marketing, color psychology. And the sources we compiled reveal a statistic that is, well, it's absolutely wild. It really should make every marketer, every brand manager pause and think. Up to 90% of first impressions are based on color alone.
90%. Think about that for a second. That
Yeah.
timeline, it's just astonishing. Long before a customer reads your headline or, judges your product specs or even really processes your logo shape,
Mhm.
their brain has already registered the palette. It's assigned an emotion and started forming a judgment. Color is essentially a precognitive shortcut. It happens that fast.
Exactly. So our mission today is really a shortcut to understanding that science.
Yeah.
How color acts as this silent persuader, how it directs emotion, shapes perception, and fundamentally influences buying decisions. We're moving past just asking, do I like this shade? And getting into, what does this shade make my customer feel? Almost force them to feel, really. Okay, let's unpack this. If you look at the most successful campaigns, especially like the ones running during those high-stakes holiday shopping periods, they aren't just aesthetically pleasing. They seem almost surgical in their use of every single shade. The goal is intentional persuasion, right? Not just decoration.
Absolutely. It's strategy, not just pretty colors.
Mm.
And we can actually decode the messaging pretty quickly by looking at the classic holiday pairings. These combinations aren't arbitrary choices. They are strategic formulas. They're designed to tap into established cultural associations we all kind of share.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the pairing that, globally just screams maximum celebration, high-octane energy.
That would have to be the powerful duo of red and gold, no question.
Right.
With its association with passion, excitement, urgency, it immediately demands attention. It just grabs you.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
And when you pair that with gold, which historically has symbolized prestige, wealth, abundance, even divinity in some cultures,
Right.
you create this sense of luxurious warmth, powerful generosity. This combination creates intense festive energy. It's perfect for brands that really want to inspire that impulse buy, project confidence, and just scream celebration.
Okay, that makes total sense for high excitement, high volume products.
Yeah.
But what about the brands that want to project something calmer, more trustworthy? I feel like I see green and white everywhere this time of year, and honestly, I worry about brand dilution. If everyone is using it for trust, how does that palette help a smaller brand stand out? Doesn't it just blend in?
That's a really critical question.
Yeah.
And yeah, green and white might seem ubiquitous, almost overused sometimes. But their power lies in their deep-seated cultural coding. They're baked in. Green signals renewal, nature, growth, and really specifically balance.
Okay.
And then white adds that element of purity, simplicity, timelessness. So while they may not stand out with loudness or boldness, they stand out with reliability. For wellness brands, sustainability folks, family-oriented businesses,
Yeah.
they leverage that classic, almost nostalgic, trustworthy feel. It's less about being loud and more about being this secure, established choice, the safe bet.
Okay. So they're leaning into that cultural shorthand for safe investment. Got it. What about the sleek, modern aesthetic, then? The brands that want to feel current, sophisticated, maybe in tech or luxury services.
Yeah, for sleekness and that kind of controlled sophistication, the sources point directly to blue and silver. Blue is just foundational for building trust and stability. It's non-aggressive. It feels reliable, solid. And then silver adds that metallic polish. It makes it feel modern, technological, maybe a touch aspirational, even futuristic sometimes. This combination gives a very measured aesthetic. It suggests reliability and high quality without needing the flash of red or gold. It's cooler.
Understated confidence. And finally, what about the brands aiming for that high-end individuality? The ones who want to feel artistic, maybe even a bit royal.
That's where purple and gold really come into their own. It's a powerful mix. Purple has this long association with royalty, obviously, but also creativity, imagination. It signals individuality, complexity.
Interesting.
And when you amplify that with gold, it communicates richness and success, definitely, but with this added artistic flair. It's not just wealthy, it's refined. This pairing is excellent for brands aiming for that kind of exclusive elegance. It subtly tells the customer, hey, this product isn't for the masses, it's special, it's for you.
Wow, okay. That's a fantastic breakdown of the emotional impact of just 4 pairs. Really clear. Now, let's pivot a bit from those emotional states to actual buyer action. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because color psychology isn't just about aesthetics, right? It's a science-backed strategy for driving specific buying behavior. The sources explain that the type of color doesn't just make us feel something,
No.
it actually physically influences our attention and even our processing speed.
Precisely. We need to look at the physics. Just a tiny bit of color perception. Take the warm tones, your reds, oranges, yellows. They have longer wavelengths.
Okay.
And in human optics, these longer wavelengths actually appear to advance toward the viewer. They kind of pop out. That stimulation, that visual urgency, is exactly why warm colors actively encourage impulse buying. They literally speed up the decision process.
Whoa, so it's like a physical push toward urgency? Okay. The cool tones, then the blues and silvers, they must work through an opposite mechanism.
They do. Cool tones have shorter wavelengths, which cause them to appear to recede slightly or drop back. They don't jump out at you in the same way.
Right.
That slower, less demanding processing time is inherently calming. And that calmness builds the foundation for long-term trust and loyalty. So if your business depends on repeat customers, on stability, you use colors that support that measured, thoughtful response.
Makes sense. And what about green? It always seems to kind of straddle the warm and cool spectrums.
Green is fascinating, yeah. Culturally, it's strongly coded for money, of course, in many places, but more universally, it's coded for nature and balance. And the sources emphasize that green specifically shifts the perception of spending. It goes from maybe a risky purchase to feeling more like a safe investment. When people see that balanced green, they feel safer somehow investing in their own wellness or their future or their family. Kind of removes the guilt from the transaction.
So we're really dealing with precognitive marketing here, aren't we? The palette controls the customer's emotional state, excitement, comfort, confidence, exclusivity before they even consciously register the price tag.
That's the actionable connection right there. That's the key. The colors are doing the heavy lifting. They're setting the appropriate emotional frame. If the frame is exciting and urgent, the customer is primed for impulse click now. If the frame is stable and reliable, they're primed for loyalty, long-term relationship. And this emotional pre-framing often dictates, whether they actually click buy or just keep scrolling. And this deep understanding of emotional framing brings us to, I think, the most crucial principle, the imperative of intentionality and consistency. You shouldn't just follow color trends because they look festive or because everyone else is doing it.
Right.
You absolutely must use color strategically to reflect and amplify your brand's personality. Yeah. Who are you, really?
It's all about alignment then. That makes sense. Like if you adopt a trendy color for the holidays that completely conflicts with your day-to-day brand identity. Let's say, I don't know, a minimalist financial advisor suddenly splashing high saturation red and green everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's jarring.
You risk confusing the customer, right? And fracturing that trust you worked so hard to build.
Exactly. Our sources give very specific advice on how to execute this alignment properly. If your business thrives on high energy, joy, quick transactions, think fast fashion, maybe novelty products, then you must lean into bold, high saturation reds, vibrant greens, or metallics that truly pop off the screen. Go big.
Okay. Conversely, if your brand is built on calm, maybe high-end reliability, or minimalism, like a fine jewelry brand or a consulting service,
then you must strictly adhere to muted greens, deeper blues, or perhaps monochromatic palettes. Stay consistent. And crucially, this is where understanding contrast and balance comes into play. It's not just the hue.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
Well, you need to understand the difference between complementary and analogous palettes. It sounds technical, but it's straightforward. If you use complementary colors, those opposite on the color wheel, like red and green, you inherently create high energy, high contrast, lots of excitement.
Got it. High energy.
But if you use analogous colors, those sitting next to each other, like maybe dark blue, midnight blue, and silver, you create harmony, balance, sophistication, much calmer. Throwing too many competing high contrast colors together just confuses the emotional message.
Okay.
It becomes noise.
Okay, so intentionality dictates the contrast level. High contrast for high excitement, low contrast for calm reliability. Makes sense. And all of this work, this intentionality, builds toward that third critical pillar, recognition. Because in a crowded holiday feed, my God, you need instant recall.
Consistency is absolutely everything there. The more your audience repeatedly sees and associates a specific color story, whether it's that high energy red or that calm muted blue with your brand, the faster that visual shorthand gets cemented in their memory. You basically earned visual real estate in their minds. They know it's you without even reading the name.
Okay, to make these concepts really concrete, let's look at a couple of global campaigns. Brands that are absolute masters of color psychology, but execute it in completely opposing ways. We probably have to start with Coca-Cola, right? Their signature holiday red isn't just a color, it feels like an entire emotional narrative.
Oh, it's a masterclass, a
Mm-hmm.
total masterclass in exploiting that urgency and energy we
Hmm.
talked about. Their red is usually high saturation, often paired with reflective light, sparkles highlight,
Yeah, lots of shine.
which just amplifies the excitement and the impulse-driven nature of their product. It feels immediate, and it perfectly aligns with the core emotions of the holiday storytelling.
Mm.
They always use warmth, instantaneous joy, sharing. Coca-Cola isn't really asking you to trust them for years. They're asking you to feel excited, feel festive right now, grab a Coke.
Right, instant gratification. Now, contrast that with Apple. You see them during the holidays, sure, but they rarely use red. In fact, if they use color at all, it's often deep, subtle, or maybe just relying entirely on the material finish of the product itself.
Apple is the perfect counterexample of that same intentionality, just pointed in a different direction. They rely on sleek silver, matte black, sometimes that deep midnight blue. This is a deliberate, low-contrast, highly consistent approach. They're almost marketing absence, sophistication through minimalism.
Mm.
Their palette signals innovation, calm reliability, premium status. They use those cool tones we discussed to establish trust and long-term loyalty.
Right.
They don't need to be loud because their visual identity communicates exclusivity and sort of permanence. It feels built to last.
And this strategy isn't just limited to the global giants, right? Smaller businesses can achieve the same kind of effect just by being intentional.
Absolutely. It works at any scale if you're thoughtful. Think about that local bakery, for example. They might use soft greens, creams, maybe some rustic browns, and it's an analogous palette, right?
Mhm.
Colors close together.
Right, harmonious.
To create that homemade holiday vibe, it conveys authenticity, trustworthiness, comfort. It appeals to a sense of tradition, warmth, giving.
Yeah, I can picture that. I've also noticed some fashion boutiques that aim for a bit of glamour, but without going full-on red and gold overload.
Exactly. If they're aiming for that high-end, maybe artistic individuality, they often pair a deep eggplant purple with subtle gold accents,
Yeah.
perhaps in low-saturation metallic threads or just small touches. It's still luxurious, but the lower overall contrast level signals artistic elegance over mass impulse. It feels curated.
Okay.
Each of these palettes, whether it's high-energy complementary or calm analogous, tells a story that the customer feels long before they consciously decide to buy anything. So what does this all mean? What does this leave us? It means every hue, every pairing, every choice you make about color carries a precise message, whether you intend it to or not. It's the difference between just hoping your customers feel festive and kind of programming them subtly to feel exactly what you want them to feel to align with your brand.
So the ultimate goal here isn't to pick the color you personally like best or what's trendy this year,
Definitely not.
but to choose colors that accurately reflect your brand's core story. Colors that evoke the right emotional response for the action you want them to take. And ultimately, strengthen your visual identity when the competition is fiercest, like during the holidays.
Precisely. Design your next campaign with intention, not guesswork. That's the bottom line. Because when your design connects emotionally, right down at that precognitive level, your audience doesn't just notice your brand, they remember it. And importantly, they trust it.
So the ultimate challenge for you, the listener, is maybe to step back. Look at your existing palette today, whether it's for your business, your website, even personal projects, and critically analyze it. Look at its contrast ratio, its temperature, warm or cool, its saturation level, and ask yourself, what subliminal story is this color telling right now? And is that story maybe accidentally encouraging an action or a feeling I don't actually want? Something to think about.